Hey everyone, welcome back to Cuddy's bookshelf. So today is January's reading wrap up. I managed to read 16 books in the month of January, some of them being 5 stars, so I'm really excited to talk to you about them. And the first one is The Women of Troy by Pat Barker. I really enjoyed this Greek mythology retelling. So this sets just after Troy has fallen. The Greeks are excited to return home, but there is no wind for their sails. They have angered the gods and they don't know how they have angered the gods, so they are stuck. This is about the women of Troy that are stuck with these soldiers and how they are being treated by them. All the stuff the women have to endure from the soldiers, why they are stuck there. It's just a really good retelling. I highly recommend this one. So that was my first book. The next book I want to talk about is The Maidens. This was a buddy read with KJ. I really enjoyed our buddy read together. And this one is a thriller. It is about a woman who has just lost her husband. She gets a phone call one night from her niece saying that her best friend has been murdered. So she goes to Cambridge where her niece is for support. This is a really difficult thing for her to do because Cambridge is where her and her husband met. And once she gets there, more murders take place and she gets involved and into solving who had done it. I really enjoyed this. I really enjoyed the academia side of it, the Greek mythology references and quotes in this. It was a really good page turner. I didn't enjoy it quite as much as The Silent Patient, but I did enjoy it nonetheless. I am looking forward to The Furies, which is the new book that is coming out. I like that the Silent Patient, like where the Silent Patient setting was, is mentioned in this. I just really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed our buddy read of this. Yeah, it's a good thriller. The next book was a non-fiction and it is Closer to Love by Vex King. So this would be really good for you if you're in a situation where you are finding it hard to love again, open your heart again, if you have been heartbroken, or if you're in a marriage and there's miscommunication and all things regarding love, basically. Love and conversations about relationships and how you could be inadvertently perceiving yourself a certain way. You know, along those lines, it's one that I would recommend to people in my life that are struggling on these topics. But yeah, I did enjoy this. So that was a non-fiction that I read. The next book was my first 5-star read of 2024 and it is Memoirs of a Geisha. I adored this book. I ate it up so fast. To say the writing is quite tiny. So I got into this because I saw the film first, and normally if I see the film first I'm a bit like apprehensive about reading the book, but this just brought so much more to the story, the richness of everything, and it was just like a deep dive, and all the details, hardships and things that the women had to go through. And even though watching it on a screen, like certain things that happen break your heart as you're watching it on the screen, but this, I just loved it. Really enjoyed it. So this is by Arthur Golden. I loved it. Absolutely loved it. The next book that I read was The Infernal Devices by Cassandra Clare. This is the edition where it has been translated into a graphic novel. So it's a graphic novel, but it's drawn like a manga. And I really enjoyed my time with this. I didn't know how I was going to get along with it being translated into a graphic novel, but they did a really, really good job with it. And I liked my reread of The Infernal Devices because obviously I have read the 3 novels that Cassandra Clare brought out. So yeah, I've enjoyed this one. I seen a few spelling mistakes, so that threw me off a little bit, but overall it was a really great book. So yeah, and it was a chunker, but I did enjoy my read with this. I did use it as like a palate cleanser between books, so I had this on the go for a while, but really good. Enjoyed it. The next book is You're the One That I Want by Giovanna Fletcher. So this is a contemporary romance, and I did really enjoy my read of this, but there was just things in it that griped me. So this is a dual narrative. So you have Maddie and Ben, but it's about a friendship between three people. So it's Maddie, Ben and Rob. So Ben has been in love with Maddie since the moment he saw her. You get the timeline of their friendship, so from when they was very young, when they first ever met, and then as they was growing up, and how Maddie ended up being in a relationship with Rob. And this starts out at Maddie and Rob's wedding, and it sort of tells you that she was waiting for Ben to say something. If he would have said something to her, she would have run away with him, basically. But then as the book's going along, and you get to like the current, back to their wedding, the present day, she's like, now you've heard all the stories, she's more, oh well, I'm choosing Rob because I don't want to hurt him, and he is the nice guy in the book. He doesn't know there's anything between Ben and Maddie, and like Ben and Maddie have this one night together where they realise their feelings for each other. With her saying at the end, I'm making the choice of marrying Rob, but then I'm like, well, right at the beginning of the book, you were saying that you haven't really chose him. It's just because Ben hasn't said anything. It's a love triangle between three friends. One is oblivious, and it just, I don't know, I've got mixed feelings about it. I did enjoy the read, but I just thought it was a bit pointless at the end. So yeah, there's that one. The next book is another Greek mythology retelling, and it is Claire Hayward's Daughters of Sparta. I really enjoyed this one. This is the story of the sisters Helen and Clytemnestra. Them two as kids together, growing up, paired up and married off to Agamemnon and Menelaus, who are brothers. It's their story through through their marriage, having children, and what comes of that, why Helen left and went to Troy. The full story is a retelling of their story, basically, and I loved this one. I highly recommend this Greek mythology retelling. I was hooked, and it's a flopper. But yeah, I do highly recommend this one. I mean, I really enjoyed the Women of Troy also, but I loved this one. I really enjoyed this. The next book that I read was Finlay Donovan is Killing It. I enjoyed this. This was a really funny murder mystery type book. It's about Finlay, who is a woman who is currently going through a divorce. Her husband has been cheating on her, and she's trying to sort that out, basically. But in doing so, she has a meeting with her editor. This woman overhears this meeting that she's having with her editor and misconstrues it for something else, and leaves her a note that if she kills her husband, she will give her £50,000. And that is a lot of money that Finlay really could do with, because she is struggling, and her husband is on about taking the kids, having custody of the children, because she isn't in a stable job that makes a lot of money. So it goes from there, her receiving this note, and it's just a really funny murder mystery story. I really enjoyed this. I'm looking forward to jumping into the second one. But yeah. The next book is In the Lives of Puppets by TJ Klune. I was really excited to get to this because I have loved all of TJ Klune's books, and I wasn't sure how I was going to feel about this one, with it being more sci-fi than fantasy. But I really enjoyed it. I fell straight into the story. I loved the found family in this. So this starts with Giovanni, who finds this hut in the middle of this forest, and it goes through him making this hut, goes through the years of him making this house, this hut house thing, a home. And then one day, two humans come along and drop this baby boy off and ask him to keep the baby safe. So he does, and then it goes into the perspective of the boy, who is Victor. And Victor likes to explore. He goes to this scrap heap all of the time, and he finds random objects that him and Giovanni can fix and build together. And in that, he found 2 robots which he had restored. You get the banter and just the greatness of these robots together. One of them is really whiny but is so endearing with the whininess, and then the other one, she is more assertive and sarcastic and hilarious. So them two put together make the perfect pairing, and the way that they care for Victor is incredible. Until one day Victor comes across this mysterious android that the only thing they know about him is that he has initials on him that say HAP, HAP. And so Victor restores him, and it goes from there. There's adventure, there is found family, there is heartbreak. Oh, it is such a good read. I really enjoyed this. I didn't enjoy it as much as Under the Whispering Door and The House in the Cerulean Sea. So this got a 4 stars instead of a 5. But I still really enjoyed it. I just loved the robots in there. They're just great, honestly. If you are a bit apprehensive about this one, with it being more sci-fi rather than just fantasy with TJ Klune, don't be. I really enjoyed this. And I can't wait to get to Wolfsong. I think that's the first in the Green Creek saga. So yeah, another great one by TJ Klune. And then the next one is a reread for me. I did do a vlog reading these, and it is Fourth Wing. And then I might as well mention this one also, which is Iron Flame. So I read both of these. I did a little vlog on these. It's not a very good vlog, so I do apologise. But I love these. I obviously gave this a 5 star again. I did tab this one. I didn't this one. I think it was because I was trying to keep pace, because I was trying to read both of these in a weekend, because I don't know, I'm sadistic. I thought, you know, I don't know what I thought, to be fair. But I didn't manage to do it. I ended up having to do it on the Monday as well. But really loved this one. Enjoyed my reread. I still had the same feelings. I still cried. With Iron Flame, I did really enjoy this. I didn't enjoy it as much as Fourth Wing, because I think, as I was saying in the vlog, I think Iron Flame has a lot of information in it. It's very info dumpy in this one, because it had a lack of it in Fourth Wing, but it had so much going on in Fourth Wing, with it being her first year at the school and her training and the trials and the romance building up and everything. So you had a lot of action and romance in the first one, and this one had a lot of world building, info dumping, but I enjoyed that. I do like a lot of politics, intrigue and world building in my fantasies, so I still really enjoyed this. I just didn't find it as addicting as Fourth Wing. It still made me bloody cry. These books, honestly, I wonder if all of these books are going to make me cry. Probably. I'm a right crybaby. I cry at anything. But yeah, I read Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. So in Fourth Wing, Violet is forced to join the Riders Quadrant when she wants to be in the Scribe Quadrant. It's what her father did, and she really wanted to do that, but her mum is the general and is forcing her to join the Riders Quadrant. And it goes from her getting into the quadrant and the trials that she has to face, meeting up with her childhood best friend, Dane, who her sister has told her, you know, go to him for help if you need it. So she does, and it shows you about their friendship and how that develops. It also shows you her mortal enemy, which is Xaden, because her mother killed Xaden's father. So there's that friction there between those two characters. And then you have characters like Jack Barlow, who is just evil and is just set out to kill people, basically. And it goes from there. It's her adventure through it, and then this follows obviously straight on from Fourth Wing, and it has a lot more to do with the war that's going on outside of the walls, and I really enjoyed both of them. There is shocking moments, there is sad moments, there is happy moments, there is spicy moments. So yeah, I highly recommend these. I love them. The next book is MJ Arager's Liar Liar. This is another one in the D.I. Helen Grace series, the thriller series that I am reading. I really enjoyed this. Although this one got a 4-star, it's the first 4-star in the series that I have given. But I did really enjoy it. I just didn't enjoy it as much as the others. In this one, there is 3 fires that have been set at different places in the city, and just as Helen thinks that these fires are a one-off, the following night a further 3 fires are set, and so they realise that this is a targeted and a serial killer, because obviously there is casualties during these fires, and it goes through D.I. Helen Grace and her team trying to figure them out. There is a lot more backstory in this one to Helen and her team. And the ending of this one, I was really wanting to get into the next one, which I did do, and I'll talk about that soon. But yeah, really enjoyed this one. The next book that I finished, this book, honestly, this book, it's a 5-star, and it is The Hero of Ages by Brandon Sanderson. This book. The way, like, even in the first part, when Vin comes into this book, the scene that happens of her coming into this book is absolutely incredible. I mean, there's not much I can tell you about this book without major spoilers, but it was amazing. The ending, I was like, of course. Oh my God. Like, Brandon Sanderson's got this really great way of leaving little breadcrumbs for you throughout the book and distracting you with other things at that time, so you don't overthink it very much. But then at the end, you're like, oh, I knew that. It's such a great trilogy. If you have not read the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson, I highly recommend this one, as the other 2 is tabbed for dear life. I loved it, honestly. Highly recommend the Mistborn trilogy. Then the next 2 books, I will do them together because they are a duology, and I devoured this so fast, and it is Divine Rivals and Ruthless Vows. As you can see, it is another 2 books that I have tabbed to death. So these, I gave this one 5 stars, I gave this one 4 stars. I really enjoyed them both. I literally sped read them. I don't know how I managed to read them so fast, but I just couldn't put them down. This one starts with Iris saying goodbye to her brother. Her brother is going to war. He has been called by one of the gods. It's a war between 2 gods, and he has been called to enroll and enlist and join the fight for that god. She is bitter about it. She doesn't want him to go. She's like, why are you leaving us? And when he leaves, it means that she is left with her mother. Her mother doesn't deal with this very well and turns to alcohol, which leads Iris to quit school and get a job to help pay for the bills and the upkeep and keep the house going. And the job that Iris gets is in a publishing house. She is currently battling for the role of columnist with this other man that is called Roman. And they have this, it's not so much enemies to lovers. They are rivals, but it's more like having like just little quips at each other. You have that going on between those two, and then secretly in her bedroom she brings out this typewriter that she was inherited by her grandmother, and she types letters to her brother because she misses him. She don't know where he is. She's got nowhere to send these letters to, so when she writes them, she posts them under the door of her wardrobe that she shares with her brother, and they seem to disappear. And she has been writing to him for months until one day a letter gets sent back and it isn't from her brother. And it goes from there. It's such a cozy fantasy. I really enjoyed it. It felt like a fantasy set in like World War I or II, but with the magical elements in it. It just made it seem so real, and I just couldn't stop turning the page. I just really loved it. And obviously this one sets off where this one ends, and the only gripe that I had with it is things came easy. There was always somebody, if they needed something, or like if they needed an item or a information, it seemed to always be really like an easy solution. There was no trying to figure out how they would get this information, or that's the only reason this one got a 4-star, because by the time this one was done I was sort of like with that situation. But I loved the ending. I really enjoyed this book. This duology is one of my favourites. It is a duology that I could find myself rereading quite often. So yeah, I loved it. And then the last book that I managed to squeeze in was the MJ Aldridge Little Boy Blue. This is the one that I was just saying that I dived straight into. And the ending, if I thought the ending of the last one made me pick this one up, you have no idea how much the ending of this one makes me want to pick the next one up. Because oh my goodness, this one, in this one the murders are happening around a subject that is very close to Helen Grace herself. It is people that she knows, and the ending to this, I was like, how is she going to get out of that? And I really hope one of her co-workers called Charlie, who she's really close with, I really hope that Charlie sees through it all and helps Helen with it. I'm being really vague because obviously spoilers, but oh my goodness, I cannot wait to jump into the next one. These are such quick reads, honestly. If you are looking for like a series that is so interwoven, the characters, you get such good backstories and they're morally grey, and the actual crimes themselves are so thought out. Honestly, give D.I. Helen Grace your time. Just read the first one. If you're not hooked by the first one, then don't bother. But I've been hooked ever since. So yeah, Little Boy Blue. And that is all the 16 books that I read in January. I hope that you enjoyed this reading wrap up. Have you read any of the books that I read in January, or are you planning on reading them? How did you rate them? Did you enjoy them? Are you looking forward to them? Let me know in the comments. We'll have a chat about them all. Let me know what you have been reading in January. I'd love to know. Have you found any 5 stars yet in 2024? Because I'm really happy about the ones that I found. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more from me, please subscribe. And I hope to see you in my next video. Bye! I managed to read six, and they don't know how they have trilogies. It's one of my favourite trilogies that I have read, but oh, I just got some bad news popped up on my phone. Oh, it's take a minute. Maddie and Ben have these, well, Ben is, so this starts out at Maddie and Bod, so, yeah, this is the story of the sisters, Helen, so, yeah, I highly recommend that one. The next book that hold on, getting ahead of myself now. This is the third book in the Mistborn trilogy by Brandon Sanderson. I never get his titles or his name right. I always end up messing up on it. Anyway, so this one starts where Iris, why did I forget her name? With this other man who is called, oh my god, Roman. And I'm sure I'll be rereading it again soon, hopefully. No, I won't do it soon. Oh, you okay? Got beanie on Minnie. If you did, please give it a thumbs up. If you would like to see more from me, Bean's coming to say hello. Hold on. Are you happy now? Yeah.